What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of That MOE Show. As always, I am your host, Hitch Montana, with my co-host.
I mean,
Hey, welcome back, world, for another episode with the boys. And we got a special guest in the building with us today. Let the world know who you are, man.
Yo, what's up, man? My name is Jules. I'm from Lakeland, Florida, and I'm a musician. So I appreciate you guys having me on here today.
Hey, man, appreciate you being a part of the show with us today, man. We appreciate you going out of your way and sit down with us for these few minutes. Man, let's dive right into it, man. Beginning of 2020, you came out with Half Man, Half Amazing. Sounds really good, man. I'm really liking it. You haven't come out with an album since 2017, though. What's the vibe with 2021? Where are we going this year?
Gotcha. Yeah. So 2021, man, I'm trying to outdo everything that I did 2020. So yeah, I haven't put out an album since 2017. I had an EP that came out in 2018. So that was kind of like a little project that I did. But this year, definitely doing an album. Last year, it would have came out last year, but I kind of switched up the plan and decided just to drop some singles, trying to build up some of the anticipation and some of the momentum heading into it. So, but this year definitely will drop an album. Looking towards springtime, something like that. Maybe early summer. So yeah.
Now, do you already have a name titled for the album, or is it still in the creative process?
Nah, I do, but I can't reveal that just yet. Yeah, it's got a whole story to it. So I'll probably reveal it real soon. I think I'm probably maybe a few songs out. And then once I feel like I'm at a good place with, as far as mixing and getting everything prepared and ready to go, then I'll jump out there with it.
Gotcha. Now you
Yeah.
came out with Geronimo. It got a lot of buzz, man. I saw, we noticed on YouTube, it was picking up a lot of momentum. So knowing that Geronimo has had so much success, what is the creative process going forward? Are you looking for the same type of vibe with the success as far as your music goes, or are you looking for just to continue to put out the purity of sound, or are you trying to stick to the same lane as Geronimo?
Nah, not really. Anytime I approach an album, like when I approached the last album, I try to bring different vibes and different feelings and different emotions to it. So Geronimo serves its purpose, and it has a certain lane that's on the album. And then I feel like for the rest of the songs, not that they're gonna deviate completely from that, but I want to give people other sounds and other vibes in the album. So there'll be definitely different songs that's from that, and it'll be tweaked a little bit. It'll still have my sound because I produce majority of my music, but it'll still have my sound and my feel to it. But it'll be different aspects and different energies on the album than Geronimo. But
Okay.
yeah.
Knowing that you produce your music as well as rap to your own music,
Mhm.
what is the sound you typically look for when you're making the beat, or what is the sounds you try to create before you actually start writing?
Uh it depends, man. I think the best way to put it is ultimately, man, I want it to feel like it has a soul. I know I said this in a previous interview, but yeah, man, I just, it has to have some type of soul to it. So, you know, I've been asked before, people have approached me to get on, certain tracks and music and things like that. But I feel like if it doesn't have a soul, if it's not pulling me to the music, then it's kind of hard for me to write on anything. So I think most importantly, when I go into it, I think, okay, man, I want this to really stick with you. And that's the main thing for me. It's like, okay, I need to create something that's gonna last, that's gonna stick with you and that can carry on for a while, which is obviously, long live, which is the whole mantra for the brand. So I just try to create something that has a soul that's going to stick with you, and can pull different emotions from you. So that's my main thought process, and then whatever comes from that just kind of comes from that in the process.
Okay. Knowing that you're from Lakeland, 863, does 863 have
Gotcha.
any influence on the sound as well?
Oh yeah, for sure, yeah. You know I feel like from my area, I know a lot of other artists have a slightly different sound than I have. So I would say my sound may feel a little bit different from this area, But if you really dig deep into it, and if you listen to the lyrics and you listen to the stories and the things that I pour into the music, then you definitely have that identity of Lakeland for sure. So that's something I carry near and dear. I always try to rep it. I always try to put it out there. So yeah, man, I can never leave that behind. So regardless of whatever I make, I feel like if you're from here, if you know me, if you listen to the music, you'll always feel that sound of Lakeland in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coming from Lakeland and the talent that Lakeland has put out, as far as I know Lakeland has the athletes, man. Everybody comes from
Yeah.
there as far as athletics go.
Right.
But not too many people know on the rapping side and on the music side who comes from Lakeland. Tell us some of the people that you that inspired you, that come from the L, or come from Florida in general. Who are the people you were listening to growing up?
Oh man, it's funny, man, because to be honest with you, there wasn't a whole lot of people from Lakeland specifically that I was listening to. But I will say that there was guys around the area that I would listen to, guys from Tampa and things like that. But what I think the most important part for me, it was the guys that I was listening to who was kind of teaching me how to rap and teaching me how to write songs that were from Lakeland. So I'm gonna run them off because I feel like I owe it to them. I gotta shout them out. But guys like Tease, guys like TJ. I used to rap with a guy named Shice, um, uh, a guy named Sean. So a lot of those guys are real pivotal in my music, and just how I rapped and how I started writing. So those are the main focus outside of obviously the people in the industry. But yeah, man, that I think there was those pivotal, and I feel like I gotta mention those guys, man, because they were so important in what I do now.
Okay. How'd you get your start into music? What brought you into rapping?
Oh man, I'll give you the condensed version. So yeah, so my dad was really pivotal in music for me. So growing up in the household, my dad would have a huge vinyl collection, and he would play it all the time. Every time we got in the car, he would play all these different songs, from Prince to Earth, Wind and Fire to Stevie Wonder to Sade to Parliament, just Marvin Gaye, all these guys. So my love for music and my ear and just being inquisitive of, like, man, what is that? Like, how did they make this sound, or what is this sound here? And my dad just kind of calling things out, like, man, listen to the bass right here, or, man, listen to this guitar here. So that's kind of where the love grew from. So I just always had a high appreciation for music, man, just from those older records. And then it was probably like, I would say maybe fifth grade or so, something like that. It was like late elementary. I just kind of like, I took it was the Jay-Z record, record with JD, the Ferraris and the Ferraris and Jaguars switching 4 lanes, that joint. So I remember taking that, and I was like, man, I started flipping the words in it. So it had the same flow, but it just had different words. And I was like, I just wanted to try to see what I could do. And so that was kind of the beginning of it. And then, yeah, that was like 97, I believe, when that was 97. So I just tried my hand at it then to just experiment it. And then after that, fast forward, I got into middle school, and my brother was hanging out with a bunch of guys who actually rap. And so they used to come over and they used to be rapping outside on the porch. And I was like, yo, this is dope. You know what I mean? Like, I was trying to do this before and I love music. And here's these guys who are actually creating music on their own. And they would have a CD, with all these dope songs on it that they wrote. So I was just so fascinated on that. Like, man, they literally created this. And so from there, that was just kind of where it started. And yeah, ever since then, man, I was probably like sixth grade, seventh grade or so. And then I just kind of writing ever since.
Okay. Now, you mentioned Marvin Gaye and some of the soulful artists of the 70s, and you hear much of that in your music now, as with some of your records. Is how much of an influence did that really play on you, though?
Oh man, I'm trying to tell you, man, that's like everything for me. Like that's everything for me. And I can't really put it in any other words, to be honest with you. Just like you said, if you listen to my music, you'll hear, you know, samples or inspiration from those guys, from Prince to Stevie Wonder to Michael Jackson to Marvin Gaye to just, the list goes on and on, Earth, Wind and Fire. So all those guys, man. So man, that was huge, because to be honest with you, I kind of started developing my sound based off of those older records. Cause I remember I was a huge Kanye West fan right when he was coming out. And I just remember him sampling. And I was like, yo, I just always thought it was dope, because I would hear the records that he would sample and I would know the records from my childhood, from my dad playing. I was like, man, that's, such and such. This is, whoever it may be. I would listen to it and I'm like, man, this is dope. This is a record that I know. And it was just so dope and creative how he would be able to flip it and create a whole new other piece of art with it. So I just remember that. And I remember thinking to myself, like, man, if I really get into music and I start producing, if I learn how to produce, I want to do those same things, because I was just such in love with that era and that time of music. So I was like, you know what, whenever I start developing my sound and getting really diving into the producing side, that's what I want the background of my music to feel like. I want it to feel like those records. And again, like I was saying, those songs had a soul to it. You know what I mean? I feel like those songs has a different feeling than a lot of music that's out right now. So I just really always appreciated that. And so I just kind of wanted to bring that element into my sound.
Yeah, I think I had that same effect when I first listened to Kanye. And that's when, because when Kanye was coming, that's when we were like, oh, this is what sampling is. Like, of course, we had heard samples before, but they were more so in pop songs. And then I think it was All Falls Down. I remember hearing the Shaka Khan song on like a smooth jazz station. And I was like, whoa, what is this? And that really opened my eyes to it too. But I want to touch on something that you were talking about earlier. So, shout outs to everybody that helped you with the pin game, getting you developed there. The song Geronimo, you have like a Showtime Laker little, I don't even know how to say it. It's maybe like 4 bars of just Showtime Laker flips. So like when it comes to the pin, because we've talked about the production is A1. Pin game is, I don't know what's over A1, A0, A++. You know what I mean? Yeah. So when it comes to your writing, like walk us through that process.
Man. So I'm smiling because I'm just thinking about just some older stories that just, it's funny now thinking about it, you know what I mean? And now being here talking about it. But so I used to be a huge Nas fan. So I remember and when I say I love music, like I dissect music. Like I sit there, I listen to it. I used to literally listen to Nas one mic. I had the Stillmatic album. I went and bought the physical, copy of it. I remember listening to one mic, going on my computer, typing up the lyrics, printing them out. Like this is before Genius, this is before all that type of stuff, to where you can just go to the lyrics. I would just have to listen to the song and be like, okay, he said, all I need is one mic, okay, cool. And I would type it up and then I would print it out and I would just read it. And I just remember him being real influential in like how I rap. I used to try to rap like Nas back in the day. But just from studying different rappers and how they deliver bars and that kind of nature, and then also from the guys who taught me how to rap, they will always teach me about rhyme schemes and rhyme flows and punchlines, and then okay, this bar was set up this end of the bar, and so they kind of they got my mind moving with that type of thing, and then studying some of the greats who do it and just seeing how they set up their bars, and then eventually I just kept writing and I'm at this point. But yeah, I think it really just comes from a lot of the lessons that I learned when I was younger from all those guys that I mentioned earlier. They would just teach me rhyme schemes and multiple syllable rhymes and having this word rhyme with this word in the bar, but the last word or rhyme with the previous bar. So just those little nuances or whatever, they kind of just taught me that, and then I just been working at it, and yeah, man, just I'm here basically. So
all right, so let me ask you this, because we have other artists that watch the show as well. A lot of new people coming up, they're coming here to try to learn some games. So let's put them on some games. So
all right,
when you have your schemes, right, do you think of like the payoff first, or do you think of the build up first? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, do you think, oh, I'm gonna go the starting five of the Showtime Lakers. Let's just figure out how to use that. Or you're like, all right, well, let me start writing this. Oh, wait, I can flip this into a Byron Scott bar. I can flip this into a Kareem bar. So like break that down for us.
All right, so it varies all the time. So I'll give you for that specific scheme. I think I was just writing it and coming off the previous bar. I just wrote call it Showtime. I play the floor general. And from that, I just, as soon as I said that, I was thinking like, oh, you know what? It'll be a creative wave. I can just build all the way up to, when I said Showtime, I was just thinking, you know, okay, I have to mention the Lakers. Like that bar wouldn't make much sense. So that bar is not going to be the big payoff or whatever, or like okay, where he's going with it, if I didn't name a bunch of Lakers. So from there, once I just came up with that bar coming off of the previous bar, I was like, all right, I got to figure out ways to flip different Lakers or whatever. So from there, I just was just thinking of the Showtime Lakers, and I was like, okay, cool. You know, Magic. All right, cool. Byron Scott. And then I would just, just finding creative ways to flip it. And then I didn't know the payoff at the end, the last bar, and I'll be at my sickest whenever I reach my pinnacle. I didn't know that bar was going to happen. I was just kind of writing the bars. And then when I eventually got to that bar, I knew I had to have a big bar at the end, because it just wouldn't matter if I was just naming them and it wasn't a bar that was like the payoff bar at the end. So I was just writing it, and then that bar just kind of fell in my lap. It just kind of hit me, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'm gonna wrap it all up with this. So for that one, it just kind of inspired me off of the show. As soon as I thought of Showtime, I was like, okay, cool. I gotta mention the Lakers. And then I just started thinking of the different players from that team, thinking of different creative ways to flip it. And then eventually that bar just hit me. Sometimes it could be different. Sometimes I can have the end bar and I'll say, okay, man, I love this last bar. I love this payoff bar that I want to end this 4 bars with. I got to figure out a way to get to this last bar. And so I'll work myself backwards on it. So I was like, okay, how can I set this bar up to make it the best payoff that I can? So sometimes I'll know the end. Sometimes it's kind of just flowing, and then it'll just end up the way that it is.
Being the conscious rapper that you are, who are some of the influences that you look to that rap similar to your style?
Oh, well, I mean, I get it all day, every day is J. Cole. And I honestly, I don't really know, I'm sure subconsciously I've been influenced, in some way, and I have no problem saying that at all, because I love him. He's a dope artist. But yeah, I get that comparison all the time. But yeah, I don't try to. It just kind of happened that way. But definitely Cole, Kendrick for sure. The funny thing is, I get the Cole comparison a lot, but the Kendrick is one of the artists that I kind of try to, when I'm in album mode and I'm thinking, okay, I'm creating a project. How do I want to execute this project? He's probably the biggest inspiration that I can pull from anybody who's doing it right now. I just love the way he constructs his albums, his projects, how they're all a story and there's an overarching theme to the entire project, which that was what I did with The Field. So, I've always thought that was just dope in general. And I know he's not the first one to ever do it, but I feel like he took it to another level. He's one of the only few guys who does that currently. So he's a huge inspiration. I listen to guys like Jordan Lucas. I'm still a big J fan, so a big Hov fan. Yeah, man. I still, I still listen to Drake and those kind of guys like that. But Wale. So a lot of those guys, yeah, man. I that's probably the core group of them. And there's others too, but that's probably the biggest there.
Yeah, I don't hear the J. Cole, but I think I get it because
Yeah.
J. Cole is like that mainstream lyrical self-aware guy.
Yeah.
But I was gonna ask about Jay, but you said Jay, because I was gonna ask about a lot of your stuff is on tantra based. There's a lot of double entendres. Like when we talk we just go back to the Showtime Lakers. It's not that you're just naming names. There's actually all fit in together. It's a double entendre there. Kendrick, I can see that as well with the way that the album is constructed. But bars wise, I'm gonna be honest. I hear the J, I hear the Wale. We all kind of came up around the same time. We're all relatively the same age.
Right.
Did Lil Wayne have any influence to you? Since we talk about it on the show, the younger viewers, they won't understand what Lil Wayne was in like 2007, 2008, 2009. So does Wayne, you know, did that come into play there?
Oh, for sure. Like, with no question. I think it's funny because of all those guys, I feel like there's certain things that I pull from, just like you mentioned before. But there's certain things that I try not to take, but it's just certain things that certain like those artists do that they're really great at doing, that I'm like, man, you know, I really appreciate how this person does this, and I really appreciate how this person does this. And I'm sure that over the years from listening to them, you know, they've obviously influenced my music. But with Wayne, man, Wayne was probably one of the first guys, and you can let me know if I'm wrong, but he was one of the first guys I felt like that we had that was just delivering punchlines at the clip that he was delivering them at. And there's guys like Fab and guys like that was doing it, and Cassidy and stuff, but it was a crazy amount of like just punchlines back to back to back to back to back that Wayne would do. And he was just the first one that kind of like really, really opened my eyes to it. You know, because you would get him here and there, but it was just crazy, man. And I just remember like listening to some of his music, just thinking like, I don't know how he's doing this. Like, how I don't understand how you would give him this bar and then follow it up with this bar, and it was just mind blowing to me. So yeah, for sure, I was a big Wayne fan. You know, I mean, still am, but yeah, for sure. Just his punchlines, I think undoubtedly was like probably one of the greatest that we've ever seen. So he's definitely influenced me. He gave me that aspect in my music of like, you know what, I want to be the conscious. I want to be the guy who's talking about certain things, but I got to give him punchlines in it too to keep you entertained. Because I think that's what he did the best in his music, with the punchlines and the crazy witty lines he would have. It would just keep you so engaged, like almost no other rapper that was doing it. So it was like, you know, he for sure influenced me.
Yeah, what was wild about Wayne is like, obviously he had a lot of stuff that was on the surface,
Right.
but he also had the hidden stuff. And I feel like at that time, like, yeah, there was other rappers that did that, but it wasn't like, the game isn't what it is now,
Right.
where, you know, we're all from Florida, we're all from the L's up, baby.
Yeah.
But we didn't necessarily have the access to like some of these New York guys that maybe nobody ever heard of except for like people there. The game was more regional than it is now. So I think Wayne is just like, this dude was a mainstream guy, and we could go on like Dat Piff, get a new mixtape every month from him with just punchline after punchline after punchline, stuff that may sound, you know, ignorant at first, then break it down, and he has all this hidden stuff in there. And he was amazing. He was amazing. But
Yeah.
we can see you're listing off your influences. A lot of the guys that you're listing off, I would say, are all in the GOAT conversation for, you know, the rap game. So, I mean, you could give us a Mount Rushmore if you want, but you know, who's your GOAT? Who's the greatest of all time?
I knew you was gonna go there. That's tough. That's really tough because all right, you put me on the spot. I would say one, Jay. I know guys might hear this and they might say, why are you not putting Big? Why are you not putting Pop? And trust me, I got an affinity for those guys for sure. But I got to go Jay, just for the sure amount of like, all respects to Big and all respects to Pop. Pop was somebody who was really influential to me as well. Like, I used to listen to his music all the time, but I just think from, you know, you got just so much more catalog with Jay. There's just so much more work, you know. So I'll probably go Jay. Am I putting these in order, or you just want the five?
Just give me number one, and then the other ones don't gotta be no specific
Okay.
order.
Thank you for saving me. Thank you for throwing that lifeline. So J, I'm gonna go J1. And then these are no particular order, but I'm gonna go Pac just from just the energy that he brought and the emotion that he brought, and just the relatability. Like I feel like when he was speaking to you, and he just had this thing that drew you in. So Pac for sure. I'm gonna go. Kendrick is definitely in there for me. I just think, you have Section 80, which is arguably a classic. You got Good Kid, Mad City, classic. To Pimp a Butterfly, which is unpopular opinion, which is actually my favorite out of that. Just technically, it's crazy. And then you got Damn, classic. So just to come out the bat with that, and then his ability and his creativity, I feel like he has to be in there. There's a part of me that wants to put 3K in there, but I know the argument that he doesn't have as much work, at least solo. So I get that, but I still kind of want to put him in there. And then, yeah, man, that last, I don't know. I'm thinking I'm either Big or something like that, man. Yeah, either Big or Nas. Nas was big for me, so that's almost like a bias speaking. So I just really fool with Nas like that.
Okay, I'm with you. I think Jay's the GOAT. I mean, it took me a while to get there. But I think as I get older and you see what he does for the game, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I definitely think that Jay's the GOAT there with that. You didn't put Wayne there? Wayne's not in the Mount Rushmore?
Man, listen, it's hard, man. That's what I'm saying. It's tough. It's tough because then when you don't put somebody in there, then it's like, oh man, I forgot. I forgot this guy, or I didn't list this guy. Wayne definitely could be in there for sure. Like I would never argue down anybody who puts Wayne in there. Just the amount of content, amount of music, the rapping ability, creativity, the impact. He definitely for sure can be in there. So it can go either way, man. I listen. Wayne can either take the place of 3K or Nas, one of the two. I'll give you 6. That's my 6. Wayne to be in my 6 for sure. Yeah.
You always gotta have a good 6 man, right?
Yeah, man. You got to. You
always got to have an honorable mention.
For sure. For
100%.
sure.
Who's one of the dream collaborations that you want to get on with? That one record that you sitting on that you could pass on to an artist and they would go crazy on it for you. Who's that one artist that you'd love to have on a track with you?
You just talking about just guys in the industry, period?
It could be guys
Anybody.
who we don't know. It could be guys in the industry. Who is that dream collaboration for you?
Oh man. There's 2, man. Well, there's 3 actually, and I've already mentioned them, but I just feel like, man, I love Jay so much, and this is gonna sound crazy. I love Jay so much that it would hurt me. It would literally hurt me if, I never got the opportunity to either, meet or rap with him. I would love that. Out of all of them, it has to be Jay. That's number 1 for sure. It's got to be Jay. But I know he doesn't give out feature verses that easy, so I know that'll be a tough task to sell. But Jay for sure. Like, yeah, Jay, and then definitely Cole. Yeah, for sure Cole. And I would love to do something with Kendrick too, man. I just think you already know when Kendrick's on the track, you gotta come with your AA game. So I would love to be able to approach something knowing that he's gonna be on it, and where my mind would go to, like, to see myself say, okay, I have to push myself, and I would be interested to see how creative or where I would go to try to make sure that I reach my max. So yeah, those are the 3, but if I had to pick just one, it would definitely be Hov for sure.
Listen, when it comes to That MOE Show, we have an affinity for Hov just like you do.
Okay, cool.
He is the God to us, just like he is the God to you. However, we got a bunch of fans who feel otherwise when it comes to the affinity that we give to Hov. Speaking of the other fans, though, we do have a group of fans that, you know, they like the new sound that's out right now. Who are some of the new artists that you're listening to, or who are some of the new artists that you have on your playlist?
Man, I don't know if you really call him new, but I guess he falls in the new. I guess he's not really new, but I was gonna say Thug. I like Thug a lot. I just think he's just super unique. Just how he comes up with certain things, his melodies, the cadences, from his just everything. Yeah, he's dope to me. But I mean, I guess he's technically not new. But I like what Rod is doing. Rod Wave. I like what he's doing. Geez. I like Roddy Ricch. I like what he's doing a lot. I'm trying to think. Yeah, man, those are the three that just come off the top right now that I can think of. But I really like what all three of those guys are doing, with melody, just the content, and just, yeah, man, I really like those guys.
So if we got a Jay-Z, Jules, and who we putting on the hook on this one? Rod Wave. We're gonna put Rod Wave on the hook. Who's making the beat?
Drake on there.
Put Drake on there? Yeah, we'll put Drake on there. Who's making the beat?
Oh, me. For sure. I mean, I would feel, who else would I go with? I mean, I guess, I could throw out a ton of names, but the same thing I was saying with Kendrick. I think just how the level that he approaches the song with, and the creativity that he approaches the song with, I would feel the same way with that record. I would say, you know what? I would love to see what I can do on the producer side of this with these guys. So that would be dope, man. To say, oh, I produce for Drake and Jay. Like, yeah. For sure, I would definitely try my hand at that. Yeah.
Let me ask this question. Now, I know it's not necessarily an easy question to answer, but which is easier, being a producer or being a rapper?
That varies between different people. For me personally, rapping. Yeah, no question. Rapping, man. When it comes to producing, there's so many technical things that comes with producing that, I mean, I can reel off, and I know Cad will know what I'm talking about, but I can go through a bunch of technical things, man, that a lot of, like, the normal listener, they don't even hear, they don't even know about, they don't even know it exists. But as a producer, there's so many things that you think about, and so many things that you want to, that you have to do to make sure stuff sounds right. I mean, you're dealing with frequency. So you're trying to make sure this doesn't clash with this. You got to make sure that you find this sound that fills up this overall spectrum of the record, so the record feels full. You got to make sure this is a quality kick drum, and this is a quality snare, and I got to make sure, all right, I have this side, and I have a B side to this, to where it keeps it interesting and engaging to the listener. And there's just so much stuff that comes with producing, man, to where it's like, I love it, but it can be tough. It can be tough with rapping, man. That to me, there's times obviously where I'm like, man, I need to get this verse off, and I need to finish this up. But for the most part, thank the Lord, the rapping part comes fairly easy. But yeah, the producing side, that one takes a little bit more time.
Sticking to that topic though, when it comes to a song for you, which comes first, the lyrics or the beat? Because for some artists, it kind of varies. They might want to hear the beat first before they put their lyrics down, and then for some artists, it's, I gotta have the lyrics first, and then I'm gonna match the beat to the lyric. I mean, the beat to the lyrics. So which is it for you?
The beat first. Yeah, there's rarely a time where I would write the record before I have the beat. I've done that before, so I don't want to say I've never done that, but it's definitely the beat first. Because like I was saying earlier, I have to be kind of drawn in to write. Sometimes I don't just have scratch verses or bars or whatever that I'll just keep, or whatever. But yeah, when it comes to making a song or a record, you know, I have to have the beat first for sure. I make the beat first, or I'll rare you know times I'll get the beat for someone else and then I'll write to it.
What's the greatest beat you've ever heard? Who has that sound, that one song, not lyrical? Who, just take out the lyrics for a minute. Who has the best beat that you've ever listened to?
Oh man, that's hard, man. There's so many. There's a bunch of Timbaland beats that I wish I made. You know, there's a bunch of Timbaland beats that I listen to. I'm like, man, why did I not like? That's fire. So I mean, I can go down a line of those. But you know what though? There's Cad, you might feel me on this one. There's a beat, man, and a lot of people don't talk about it. But it's just one of my favorite beats to hear. It may not be the greatest beat, but it's one of my favorite ones to hear. And every time I hear it, I just feel like, why did I not think of that? Like I feel like it was so simple or just so right there. But you know, he came up with it. But it's the on the Watch the Throne, the Otis beat. The J, and every time I hear that beat, I'm like, why did I not think of that flip? But I love that original record. You know, Otis Redding, Try a Little Tenderness, and I'm just like, man, why did I not come up with that flip? But I love that beat, man. That's one of them that I wish I made that one for sure.
Yo, you know what's one for me that it's, and I want to see your reaction to this one, because this beat may be one of the simplest beats maybe ever made, and it's "Say You Will," the Kanye song.
Oh yeah. It's a loop though, and it's pretty much just a loop the entire time. Yeah.
And it just does the doop.
Right.
Doop.
Yep. Yeah. I love that one too, man. That's one. Yeah. But you know what's funny though, and I'm sure you can contest to this too. But most of the times, man, when we think about those beats, it's like, man, that beat is probably the greatest beat, or man, I just love this beat so much. Most of the times, they're very simple beats. You know, they're rarely complex beats.
I feel like industry beats more so like your bigger artists. The beats are more simple. I mean, Ninth Wonder's my favorite producer ever.
Oh yeah.
And all his beats are two tracks basically. And he said he just does that on purpose. He'd make 30 beats in a week, and he just has the sample and then the drums, and that's it.
Yeah, I love Knife. The one he did for Kendrick, the Duckworth, like when the beat switches, crazy. But yeah, if you listen to that, if you break it down, it switches, which makes it complex. But if you break down each beat, it's just pretty much a sample and a drum and maybe a snare or something. But that's pretty much it. But all the beats that you kind of think in your head, it's like, oh man, this beat is so fire. I love this beat. Most of them are very simplistic or whatever. And I feel like a lot of producers kind of shy away from that. And they almost feel like, oh man, this doesn't have a lot in it, so it must not be dope, or this is not going to be able to compete with, you know, this and that. You listen to a bunch of Drake songs, man, it's not very much in the beats at all. And he's the biggest artist that's out here. So yeah, man, it's funny that you bring that up, but I would definitely agree. The Otis beat, very simple, it's just dope to me.
Yeah, and this might spark controversy, but we want to talk about this producer makes the simplest beats, and he's considered one of the greatest. I think he's one of the greatest of all time, and that's Madlib. If anybody got time, just go on YouTube. I think it's the MF Doom Mad Villain. Just type in like Mad Villainy samples, and there's like a page that breaks down samples. I think it's called Bandcamp or something like that. And all his beats, he did No Parties in LA, the Kanye song too. Right. But all his beats are just loops that he puts together, that he samples and gets loops.
Yeah, that's it. It's nothing wrong with that. And I feel like, you know, I'm glad that you guys have this platform to speak on it. It's nothing wrong.
No, not at all.
There's nothing wrong with that. I love the complex beats as well. Like when there's time for those, and when those, you know, because I like Justice League and all that with the luscious sounds. I love those type of beats. I have nothing against those. And then there's also the beats that are very simple that are also dope as well. So yeah, I just, and at the end of the day, man, to be honest with you, the audience doesn't care. The
Yeah,
audience
yeah,
is
yeah.
listening to it and saying, oh, you know what, man, he's missing a drum, like he's missing, this background bass in here. And oh, there maybe should be a guitar and a pad on here to fill out this. They don't care. As long as the
Yeah.
energy and the vibe
Yeah.
of it is
Oh,
right.
the bass line's not EQ'd correctly. The things that
Yeah.
would drive you crazy while you're making the beat.
Yeah.
People,
You know
if
what
they
I mean?
like listening to it, they like listening to it. There's advice for any new people coming up
Yeah, for
from
sure.
Cat and Jules. If they
Yeah.
like it, they like it.
I agree. Yeah. If the vibe and the energy is right and it feels good, that's all that matters. As long as it feels good, it don't matter.
Completely agree. Completely agree. It's so funny how well you relate to us when it comes to the type of music you like to listen to, because again, we some of our favorite artists are the same people who you've been naming. For us, it's Jay-Z, it's Kanye. Especially when it comes to production and things like that. Kanye has this really cool way of keeping things simple but giving you such dynamic sound out of that simplicity. And then at the same time, you bring up the Justice League and how it is that luscious sound that it just rings in your ears, from the orchestra to also the machinery as well. So you get that blend between all of that put together. So we're glad that you feel at home talking to us, because a lot of times we catch some slack when we talk to, when our fans give us the feedback, because a lot of them they don't like the fact that we like these artists so much, or that we talk about them to the extent that we talk about them. So it's really good that you feel that you appreciate them just as much as we do. We appreciate you for appreciating them. Know that.
Right.
Speaking of Justice League, we just talked about
Yeah.
Rick Ross a couple weeks ago.
Oh, really?
That's right. Because for us, Rick Ross is like Mr. Consistency. We call him Mr. Consistency on the show because of how good he delivers his music. Like you don't hear much of a bad song from him.
Mm-hmm.
His music isn't always the greatest. However, you're not going to get bad delivery from him.
Right. I agree. I love Ross too. There's so many people, man, you guys are mentioning, I'm like, dang, why did I not name him? But yeah, I've been a Ross fan for a long time. I used to have the physical albums, all that type of stuff, man. So yeah, Ross maintains this certain level of quality with his music that I feel like with every album, you're gonna get. I feel like in every project that you come into, hey, okay, it may not be my favorite album of the year. It may not be my favorite Rick Ross album of all, but I know at least I'm going to have this certain level of quality, and I'm not going to listen to it and say, man, what was that? You're going to always get great work from him. It's like every time it's like clockwork. So I agree with you on that for sure.
Speak on this for us. Staying on the topic, with Rick Ross being a Florida rapper, there is a Florida sound. Many people don't think there is, but there's a Florida sound. Mm-hmm. Describe what that Florida sound is like to you.
Bass. I mean, I can give you the components of it. It's kind of hard to put what the sound is into words, but it involves bass. It involves crazy snares usually. It has like this kind of dirty bounce to it a little bit. Sometimes it can have a little bit of aggression to it, and I think that's probably one of the aspects that I get from it with some of my music and some of the way I deliver some of my lines, I guess, in like Geronimo and other records, is almost like the aggression. But I try to bring that bounce to it as well, and the 808 feel to it. But it's hard to put the sound into words, but yeah, man, it's usually just hard hitting, sometimes aggressive, just kind of like vibey, let's ride to this kind of vibe to it. Yeah, so that's the best way that I can kind of put it.
I mean, I think me and Kat would both agree that's probably the best way to describe the Florida sound.
Yeah.
I'll say this about Florida sound. I think there's a lot of uniqueness in the artists all, and it's funny because when we talk about like, you know, maybe like in New York where all the music kind of sounds the same, like it has its own little differences depending where you're at, but it all at the end kind of sounds the same to me. I mean, that's me. Y'all can kill me in the comments later if you want.
Yeah, they
But
definitely gonna kill you. They definitely gonna kill you.
oh well. But in Florida, we have like, let's just take Rick Ross and Kodak. They're from relatively the same area. We could put Pitbull in there too, and Flow Rider. All of them kind of make different music, but it's like when you hear it, you know, like, oh, that must be a Florida artist. Rod Wave, I think it's from he's from Central Florida, somewhere over here.
He's from Orlando area.
Orlando. His music is gonna sound different than, you know, a Jules. But I can listen to Jules, I can listen to Rod Wave, and for some reason, I'm like, oh yeah, that got to be a Florida artist, even though the music sounds completely different. I think Florida got the best artist right now. Don't at me.
Yo, I'm from Florida, so I would just say that I appreciate the artists that are coming out. I love the versatility, like you were saying. I'm not gonna attach myself to that New York tape. I'm gonna let you be on that island on yourself. But yeah, I like what we're doing in Florida, and I like the different sounds that is coming out of it. So that makes me proud because I know for a long time, man, the South and Florida and stuff like that was kind of shunned and didn't, you know, think that, you know, we could really contribute, especially Florida. I mean, you know, Atlanta has been doing their own thing, but you know, you just didn't have a whole lot of artists, a whole lot from Florida. And I just feel like there's been a lot that's been popping up lately and doing their thing. So I'm really, really happy for that.
Now, earlier you mentioned Drake and how and some of the production when it came to Drake. Now, Drake just recently popped up in the news because Fat Joe said that there's a possibility that Drake or Jay-Z could go against LL Cool J in a versus battle very soon. Now, with who? Let me ask this question. Which one of these two could you actually see verse him? And if either of them would actually make this happen, who would win?
You want the honest answer?
That's all we want here, man.
20-0, either one of them. 20-0 Cool J.
Neither. None of them. I don't see any of them doing it. First of all, I don't think in the position that Drake is in, Drake is the number one artist that's out here now. I just don't see him jumping into a versus battle. It doesn't feel like his MO. It doesn't feel like anything that he's really done before. I just don't see him doing it. And Jay is just so, you know, Jay is just out here doing other things. Jay is on a whole nother, you know, wave of whatever he's doing, business and things of that kind of nature. Jay pops in and pops out. He'll give you a dope verse. You know, he gave us 444, you know, not too long ago, but he pops in and pops out. I just couldn't imagine Jay sitting down and saying, okay, I want to, you know, give you my best records or whatever. So I personally don't see it happening. But if it were to happen, man, versus is a performance game, man. Versus is a field where you gotta have some slappers, man. You gotta have some joints that really go. That's gonna grab the audience and, you know, and go with them. So as much as I love L, you know, that was somebody else who I listened to when I, you know, was young and started in the right. So I just think just the sheer fact that if Drake were to do it, Drake is just the number one guy out. So it'd be hard for me to root against him. I just feel like, you know, the audience would lean more to Drake because he's current and he's putting out records now. So I just think the audience would probably lean more towards him. And the Jay and the Jay one would be interesting too, man. I don't know, but I'm a Jay fan, so I got to ride with my guy, man. I'm gonna go Jay.
Now, would it be?
Cool J would get 20-0'd. He'd get 20-0'd.
Now, would it be a landslide if Drake went against LL? Would it be a landslide with Drake, or would Drake get a couple of L's?
Yeah, man, Cat, you tripping, bro. I don't know if it'll be a landslide. No, I don't think it'll be a landslide. I think L will probably get a few rounds. I'm not sleep on him like that at all. You know, L has some joints that still ring off to this day. So I would definitely give L a few rounds, but I think ultimately, if we going with Jay, that's my guy. So I'm gonna just ride with my guy. And if we going with Drake, I just think Drake has so much catalog to pull from and so many hits, you know, just not even his own, but with big features and things like that. And then plus he's the current top guy that I just think that, you know, he will ultimately win. And, you know, yeah.
With him being
You,
the
you can't
current,
have LL versus them. LL would need to go against somebody else. I think the only people you can have in versus, and we've talked about this, is it have to be Jay versus Drake, or Jay versus Ye, or Jay versus Wayne, or you could switch all of them around. But they would, I think, only those four are in the conversation with each other. And
I
that's
if
like
just
it
my
those.
personal opinion.
if it
I like
was
those.
Jay first Drake, I know it's not gonna happen. We know it's never gonna happen. The Jay versus Drake versus will never come about. But hypothetically speaking, who you got? If it's Jay-Z versus Drake, because Drake, like you said, he is the top guy right now, and I think it's safe to say that he has the crown for the next 10 years. But who would win this battle? Who's got the better catalog? Who do you think will put on the best show?
Oh boy. Um, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think listen, man, Jay got some joints, man. And I think it's almost a case of prisoner of the moment and being in the now that we might forget some of the Jay, but you know, you put on PSA, you put on Big Pimpin', you put on Hard Knock Life, you put on New York.
You could almost put on the whole Black album, just
Yeah,
the whole
almost the
album.
whole. You can almost go the Blueprint. You can go with a bunch of almost that whole project. Um, yeah, man. Jay just got records, man. He got records from '96 though. You know, he got records. Dead Presidents. People are still sampling that. That's a. I know the beat is not an original beat from Dead Presidents. I know that he sampled, but we know the sample because his song Dead Presidents when he sampled it. So we know the sample really from Jay. And so, you know, people are going back to that record and still sampling it because of Dead Presidents. So, I mean, he just got so many joints, man. But at the same time, Drake too, man, you just can't, it's just undeniable. Drake just he has one of, you know, he just has an impressive catalog too. So it'd be tough, man. I think both of them would that's just a hard one to choose, to be honest, because they will both grab rounds. I'm gonna go with tie. I know y'all don't like that, but I'm gonna go with tie, man. That'll be tough. That'll be tough.
No, that battle or that versus would go down to the buzzer, and it
Yeah,
would 100% be what songs do they pick is
right.
what it would come down to.
It'll be the
Song,
matchup selection.
yep,
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
songs they pick and how they're placed. That is what that one would, and that's what you want though. You want it to be, and if it is a tie, you want it to be like, oh, well, they tied, or no, I think this person. It's like Jordan LeBron is exactly what it is. You go either way, but I think that'd be a good one. But that is probably one that'll never happen, unfortunately, unless
Yeah,
they could pull some strings.
I don't see it happening.
Yeah, it's not. We all know it's not gonna happen. We know that they're too big at this point in time for that to ever come about. You know, one thing I think Versus likes to do is they like to go for the low hanging fruit. And so some of the artists that come about us that are on the battle are artists that, you know, have careers that have kind of started to come down a little bit, and kind of they're no longer at the magnitude that they are now. So yeah, we all know that the verses that verses in for them two aren't gonna happen. But I mean, it's definitely good to see what would come about from your mind. Because for us, I don't remember what Cass said. We covered it on the show before. I think we both agreed though that Jay-Z would come down. It would be a close one for Jay-Z. But we also said that these two artists sit at a different table than most artists. You know, like he said, when it comes to these artists, there's Drake, there's Wayne, there's Kanye, there's Jay-Z. I think the reason why we brought it up is originally because T.I. had talked about he wanted, if anybody was going to do the battle with him, it was going to be Jay-Z. If he wanted anybody to do a battle, if he was going to do a battle with anybody, it would have been Jay-Z. Mm-hmm. With me bringing that up, could T.I. hold a candle to Jay-Z in a versus battle for you though?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Like, and that's, listen, I see your reaction, and yes, but you know what though, I applaud Tip, because you know what, Tip is looking at his catalog, he's looking at the work, he's looking at all the energy and time that he's put into this music, and he's trying to value himself at a place where I feel like if you're coming into this game, you should be coming into this to be the very best that you can be. And I feel like if you've put in as much work and you've had as much success as Tip has had, then why not bet on yourself? That's what you're supposed to do. I would do the same thing. Maybe in the back of my head, I'll say, I don't, it's might be a tough one, but I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna bet on myself, because that's just what you're supposed to do. So I applaud Tip for that, to be honest with you. I know people were giving him a lot of flack for that, but I didn't mind it at all. But man, Tip got records, he has records. He has some records. So I'm not gonna come up here and say, oh, he's not gonna get any rounds or nothing like that. That would just be crazy. Tip has stuff that it can go, that still goes. So nah, I would for sure say he will get rounds. I don't know who would win, but he will for sure get rounds. Yeah.
I'll tell you this though, T.I. will not get zero though. He won't get P-Road. T.I. will get rounds. But honestly, they should do T.I. versus LL Cool J, if we're being honest. I
don't know about that.
Because I think LL Cool J has hits. And when I say he got 20-0, he'd get 20-0 by Jay-Z and Drake, I just don't think that he has the catalog that's big enough for Jay-Z and Drake. But no, I'll see. I really would want to see LL Cool J versus Too Short, but I think Too Short already won against E40, so you can't put Too Short again. But yeah, let's do like T.I. I think we talked about T.I. 50 Cent also, and I wouldn't mind seeing that because I think T.I. called out 50 Cent.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind seeing that either.
Yeah. I don't know about the L and Tip. I don't know about that one.
I think T.I. would beat LL Cool J, but it would be a closer battle, a closer versus than if he went against Jay-Z or Drake.
Listen, man, who knows? Who knows, man? I don't know about the L and Tip, but I think when they was proposing the Tip and Jeezy, I thought that would have been really good. But I understand why they switched it. It was for a bigger purpose, which I appreciate, and I'm glad that they did. So I would, because of the history behind those two, the Jeezy and Gucci, I'm glad that they put that together. But I think a really dope matchup would have been Tip and Jeezy. I think that would have been pretty dope.
Hey Jules, you want to know something crazy about that?
What's that?
So it was T.I. calling out 50 Cent first, I think, is what it was.
Right.
And we went on That MOE Show, and we said, it'd be T.I. versus Jeezy would be better. 2 weeks later, they announced the T.I. versus Jeezy, and we were like, T.I. versus Jeezy, or maybe Jeezy versus Gucci. Like, yeah, it'd be cool to see Jeezy versus Gucci. And then a week after the T.I. Jeezy, what happened?
So y'all called.
Just know we've called a couple things. We're
not gonna say that Timbaland and Swiss Beats are listening to the show, but every time that we've called out a versus battle, it's come true.
And you never know, man. You never know.
Yeah, you never know, man. Listen, right now we're in the streaming era of music, and it's very easy to get trapped into the microwave effect of music, where you got to put something out right now and you got to make it go right now. Mm-hmm. How do you stick to being pure, to being original and being creative versus getting into that world of microwave mentality?
Well, it's tough. I'll definitely say that for sure, because for one, you're battling with you want to adapt, basically. So you don't want to be the artist that tells themselves, oh nah, you know what, I don't got to do that. Nah, I'm gonna just do this, because then you're going to put yourself in a trap. You have to adapt to the times and how the music is going. It's not saying that you have to make the exact same music that they're making, but you do have to adapt to the times and what is going on at this time. And we just live in a time and an age, man, where everything's moving more and more and more rapid. So you do have to change a little bit of your approach to make sure that you can stay current. And to be honest with you, that played into the reason why I handled 2020 the way that I did, because I was gonna, again, like I was saying, I was gonna drop the album in 2020. But then I was talking to my engineer and one of the guys that I produced with, and just a few other people that's around me, and they were just like, man, I think changing up the approach and not doing the album, just kind of doing, dropping the songs or so, more and more singles, but might be beneficial. So I switched it up, but I guess, man, it's, you have to figure out who you are as an artist. There's some artists who can do the song every week and be perfectly fine. There's some artists who can give you a song every 2 weeks. There's some artists that's like, I can give you a song every month. There's some that can't do that. So I think you got to play into your strengths, and then you have to figure out what your strength is and who you are as an artist, and figure out how you can adapt that to what's going on currently. But some people don't have any issues with giving you a song every week. The rapper Toby, who does the Twisted Sundays, he drops a song every Sunday, and they're all fire. You know what I'm saying? So there's people who have the capability of doing it, and it doesn't diminish any part of the quality. There's some artists who can't do that, and they need a little bit longer to put out music to make sure that the quality stays to a certain point. So I think at the end of the day, quality always beats quantity. In my eyes, it always beats quantity. I know, as much as they say, oh, you got to drop this, you got to drop this, you got to drop that. As long as the quality is dope, and as long as you're not going for a long stretch of time, as long as the quality is dope, the people will be there to listen to it. So that's kind of my philosophy. So I'm one of the type of people where I probably could push myself and go more, but right now in my mind, my fastest output is probably a record every month. I can maybe do something, I could probably, shorten that if I really tried, but I feel like I'm comfortable with a record every month. I can probably kick that out constantly. So I just kind of just figure out who I am as an artist, and I just kind of go with that. But I just always try to keep the quality the main thing with whatever I'm doing.
All right, and just to okay, y'all can make sure my mic was on that. All right, so just to I kind of want to go a different route with this question. So, like Hitch was saying, we're in a microwave kind of game right now, where obviously it's different now than in 2008, 2009, where we could hand out CDs. Now, you got to be on Spotify, you got to be on Apple Music, you got to be on TikTok, got to be on the IG library. And I think something that helps artists now stand out is more so their brand versus, oh, this is a cool song. Let's use this 5 seconds, put it on TikTok. People don't know who sings the song. They just know the little snippet, don't even know the song. I'll tell everybody listening this. Jules is a very unique artist, I would say, because if you look at Jules' content, he doesn't always have, oh, this is all my music. He's actually a pretty good actor. And I was wondering, Jules, are we going to get some more acting from you? Can we get a, like for this album, can you drop a movie where you're acting in it?
Listen, yo, that's first and foremost, I appreciate that. Not quite that great of an actor, but funny story is I'm really big into arts, just arts general. So music, film, actual illustration, all that type of stuff. So when I was younger, I used to really want to be in movies. That was like a big thing for me. I wanted to be an actor, and I used to watch movies and I will watch them perform a scene, and then I will go and try to perform that exact same scene and try to convey those same emotions in that scene. So I'll find like a drama or something like that and try to take the lines, listen to the lines, like, okay, and see if I can, perform that same scene, to the level that they were doing. So that was like a little thing that I used to do. But as far as your question, as far as the acting, yeah, there's a little bit of something that we got coming. We just shot a video for Pardon No Favors, so there will be some acting in that one for sure. And there'll be some nice comedic moments. But yeah, man, I always try to incorporate that, and I got an idea for what I want to do for this album, for the rollout for it. So I'm sure there'll be some funny moments and some acting opportunities coming up soon.
All right, man. And then I was asked this last one to finish it up. So real early in the interview, we talked about how Polk County is really known for athletes, right?
Right.
And a lot of people may not know, but Jules is actually a very good basketball player. And I was introduced to Jules. I've heard his name before. I'm not going to say your real name. I've heard his name before because he went to I want to say a rival high school because y'all just destroyed us every time we played y'all. But he went to another high school in the city. And they're like, oh, you got to watch out for this guy. And I saw him dunk on a guy that we thought could never be dunked on because he had like a 40-inch vert. And I'll just to break this down, I'm getting a little off the topic of the question here. But I was sitting on the bench. I was looking. I saw Jules get a steal, right? I saw him take one dribble. Then I couldn't see him anymore, right? Because they had a lot of tall guys at that school. So I couldn't see him anymore. And then I see our guy jump. And then I'm like, oh, well, I guess this guy's shooting. And then I see Jules come over the top of him and dunk on him. And then I'm like, well, we're already losing by 50. So I just think it's time for us to pack the bus. Just pack up our bags, get on the bus, and go home. But I say that to say this. All right. So we're known for a lot of athletics. There's a lot of people that make music in the city that were athletes. So you're going to pick 5, right? You're going to pick 5 rappers. It could be industry rappers, people that rap now, people that don't rap anymore, people that maybe from the city that are rappers now or artists now. Who's your starting 5?
Why are you doing this to me? From the city, you said, or not from the city? I can't hear you.
Could be in the industry, from the city, whoever. Just people that make music that you know or know of.
Oh man, this is crazy. I go Chains. I'll go Cole. Dirk. It's funny. Chris Brown can actually play ball a little bit. So I'll go Chris, and then I need one more. So I'll have Chris and Dirk at the 1 and 2. I'll go Chains is gonna probably be 4 or 5, one of those two. Cole will probably be the 3. And then I need one more. I'll go me. Yeah, I'll be in there. I can't think of. I'm trying to think of who else I will put in there, but I'll go in that. I'll be in there.
Here's what I'm grabbing. I'm grabbing Percy Miller at the point.
Oh, you didn't tell me we was gonna do throwback. Like
I said, anybody. I'm getting Percy Miller at the point. I'm getting. Who's the 2? I'll put Jules at the 2. I'm putting Cole at the 3. I'm putting who's a tall guy? Oh, I'll put Slim Thug at the 4. Did he play basketball? He's like 6'8", whatever. He can get rebounds. And then I'm putting myself at center, and it will be any other musicians don't want to play. Okay,
if you was gonna say I can grab Miller, then I would have definitely grabbed him because he hooped like in the NBA. So I would have definitely added him to my team. But Okay, I like your 5. I like your 5.
I gotta say this. It was a pleasure having you on the show with us and talking with us today. I know you mentioned the album coming out sometime this year. What else you got working? What else you got coming out on 2021, man? What else can the fans expect from you this year?
Oh man. Well, first and foremost, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it, man. This is a great platform. I enjoy talking to you guys, and yeah, man, I really appreciate it. But this year, more music. Last year I try to drop a song every month. It kind of got held up a little bit just due to circumstances as far as with COVID and pandemic and the civil unrest that was going on, which just I didn't feel comfortable really dropping music during that period of time because I just felt like it wasn't important. So it kind of got threw off a little bit with those things, but again, try to set that bar again this year. Try to drop new music every month, more videos. The album, which is something I've been really waiting to release because it's a great story in it that I've really been anxious to tell. So album, but yeah, more visuals, more music, and I got some collabs on the way. I got one that'll probably be a little bit interesting, a little bit surprising to a lot of people. So I got some collabs in the work, and yeah, that's one big thing that I've been trying to do, man. I want to just branch out, collab with a few different artists. I know a lot of they haven't really heard me rap with another artist before, so I've been really excited to do that. And then also too, man, we're trying to put together a little live show or something, depending on what how the world is at that time. But we're trying to put together something that'll be pretty dope. So might throw a few or a show or so. So yeah, it'd be pretty interesting this year.
And lastly, tell everybody where they can find your work. Tell everybody where your socials are.
All right. Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram, Long Live Jules, LONGLIVEJULES. So Long Live Jules on Instagram, Twitter. I got a Facebook page, artist page, the same thing, Long Live Jules. Um, YouTube, Long Live Music Group is the channel. And I'm on all streaming services. So Spotify, Apple Music, all that. Just search Jules. You'll see me there again, JULES. So all streaming services. So yeah, man. Yeah.
Well, again, as always, I am your host, Hitch Montana, with my co-host,
Podcast Marv Albert, just two guys doing the show from their mom's basement. Academy.
and our special guest, Jules, man. Again, we appreciate you for being a part of our world for this moment and talking to our people, and most importantly, talking to us about the music and the life, man. We appreciate all you guys. Peace out.
All right. Appreciate it.